The people who were used to eating were immediately discussing among themselves. Heavens, I never thought that this eldest Miss Mo actually has a heavenly thunder spirit root. We in the Western continent have never heard of anyone with a heavenly thunder spirit root. I've heard of it before. A few thousand years ago, there was a heavenly thunder spirit root. However, this heavenly thunder spirit root was not tolerated by the Tian Dao. It seems that she was struck to death by the heavenly thunder when she was just a few years old. According to what you said, wouldn't this eldest Miss Mo be killed by Tian Dao sooner or later? That's for sure. This eldest Miss Mo is really unlucky. She was lost since she was young. Now that she has finally returned, the Mo family head still doesn't like her. Moreover, she has a heavenly thunder spirit root that is not tolerated by Tian Dao. How pitiful. Then I'm a little puzzled. Why is she still alive and not killed by Tian Dao? Isn't that simple? Because her spiritual power is too low. If her spiritual power reaches the level of Ling Xian, Tian Dao will probably kill her. Mo Fangqin heard what everyone said. Although she didn't like Yun Chujiu, she also felt that this country bumpkin's life was really tough. No matter how bad she was, she still had Auntie Chiu to protect her, and she wouldn't be killed by Tian Dao. This person who was targeted by Tian Dao would definitely die. Manager Xia was very satisfied. She deserved it. Such a disaster should not be alive. It would be better if she was struck to death by heavenly lightning. At this moment, Yun Chujiu and the golden-horned wind-blade leopard had been fighting for 15 minutes. Yun Chujiu did not use the small purple needle or the cute little piglet of spiritual power. This fellow only used his movement technique and purple lightning to deal with the golden-horned wind-blade leopard. The golden-horned wind-blade leopard howled in anger. It originally thought that killing Yun Chujiu would be an easy task. After all, Yun Chujiu's spiritual power was much lower than its. It was not bad to drag her down with it on the brink of death. However, it did not expect that Yun Chujiu would not hold back. Her movement technique was extremely fast. The golden-horned wind-blade leopard could not hurt Yun Chujiu at all. The golden-horned wind-blade leopard became anxious and threw a few huge wind blades at Yun Chujiu. Yun Chujiu leaped to the side with all her might and dodged the first wave of wind blade attacks. Taking advantage of the fact that the golden-horned wind-blade leopard had yet to unleash its second wave of wind blades, Yun Chujiu actually leaped onto the back of the wind-blade leopard. Everyone could not help but exclaim in surprise. This eldest Miss Mo was really too daring. This move was really unconventional. If not, her little life would be over. The golden-horned wind-blade leopard also did not expect Yun Chujiu to actually jump onto its back. A trace of cunningness flashed in its eyes. This wretched girl was really courting death. It turned its head and threw a few wind blades at Yun Chujiu. Everyone could not help but stamp their feet. It was over. It was too late to save her because Yun Chujiu was really too close to those wind blades. However, everyone did not hear Yun Chujiu scream. Instead, they heard the golden-horned wind-blade leopard scream. It turned out that the moment the wind blade attacked, Yun Chujiu actually turned around and hid in the golden-horned wind-blade leopard's abdomen. She used a large kitchen knife to directly cut the golden-horned wind-blade leopard's abdomen several times. The golden-horned wind-blade leopard's abdomen was much weaker than other parts of its body. Therefore, after Yun Chujiu cut it a few times, fresh blood spurted out. The golden-horned wind-blade leopard cried out in pain. However, Yun Chujiu was hiding in its abdomen, so it had no way to attack Yun Chujiu. It could only roll on the ground to expose Yun Chujiu so that it could attack again. The moment the golden-horned wind-blade leopard rolled, Yun Chujiu suddenly jumped up and shot several bolts of lightning at the golden-horned wind-blade leopard's eyes. The golden-horned wind-blade leopard's attention was on its abdomen. It did not expect Yun Chujiu to attack its eyes, so it was struck by Yun Chujiu. The golden-horned wind-blade leopard immediately screamed and rolled on the ground. Yun Chuzhou sighed, "You are also suffering. I will take your life directly." Yun Chuzhou shot out a few bolts of lightning, and after the golden-horned wind-blade leopard fell to the ground, it died. Everyone was silent at first, and then they all applauded. "Miss Mo. Good move. Miss Mo, you're so brave. You're really a hero among women. Miss Mo, you won by taking a risk and defeating the strong with the weak. It's really admirable." Manager Xia thought the complete opposite in her heart. This country bumpkin's movement technique was really fast, but this time it was just good luck. She didn't believe that she could have such good luck every time. Manager Xia pretended to praise her a few times, then said, "Miss, this trial must be intense, or else we won't be able to achieve the purpose of the trial. So, we still have to continue looking for the demon beast." Yun Chuzhou nodded. Manager Xia is really dutiful. Since that's the case, then he'll listen to you. Let's continue looking for the demon beast. Manager Xia was not stupid. She could naturally tell that Yun Chuzhou was mocking her. She snorted coldly and did not speak. She did not speak, but someone spoke. "Miss Mo, you should rest after the battle. Well, go and find another demonic beast for you." Manager Xia wished that she could stab these troublesome people to death with a knife. These people were all full of themselves. They were really troublesome. Very soon, those people found another demonic beast. This time, it was a level 26 golden-horned wind-blade deer, which was one level lower than the previous one. Yun Chuzhou still didn't use her spiritual power materialization this time. She only relied on her nimble skills and purple lightning to deal with the golden-horned wind-blade deer. Everyone was certain that this Miss Mo most likely didn't know how to materialize spiritual power. This low-level continent's people simply couldn't do it. They actually didn't even know the most basic spiritual power materialization. Even if they didn't know how to materialize high-level spiritual power, they could at least know how to materialize low-level spiritual power. After another 15 minutes or so, Yun Chuzhou still managed to kill the golden-horned wind-blade deer despite her efforts. Although Manager Xia was anxious in her heart, she couldn't find any faults because these two demon beasts were indeed killed by Yun Chuzhou alone. If not for these onlookers, Manager Xia could still get some high-level demon beasts to make things difficult for Yun Chuzhou. Now that there were so many people staring at her, she had no choice but to watch helplessly. After a while, the onlookers got another 26-level golden-horned wind-blade deer. Yun Chuzhou did the same and killed the deer with her movement technique and purple heavenly thunder. "Everyone, it's time for lunch. Let's grill some meat. We'll continue the trial after we finish eating," Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Those people were also a little hungry, so they naturally agreed. Manager Xia tactfully didn't object, because she knew that even if she did, it would be useless. Moreover, it would be the truth. Yun Chuzhou ordered a few guards to kill all three of the prey, and then began to roast the meat. It was the first time that everyone saw honey applied on the meat when it was being roasted. However, when the fragrance spread, they couldn't stop their saliva, and they impatiently followed Yun Chuzhou's method to roast the meat. Although the three demon beasts were not small, there were too many of them and it was not enough. Therefore, someone hunted a few more demon beasts and returned. Manager Xia looked at Yun Chuzhou who was chatting and laughing with everyone and her heart was about to break down. She had promised to teach her a lesson, but now it seemed that this group of people was accompanying the country bumpkins on an outing. After everyone had finished eating and drinking, someone helped Yun Chuzhou find a demonic beast to let her train. Yun Chuzhou still did not use her spiritual power to materialize. This fellow was very shrewd. Her spiritual power was already low. If she did not leave some trump cards, wouldn't she become a fish on the chopping board, waiting to be slaughtered? After Yun Chuzhou killed another 2 level 26 demonic beasts, the onlookers said, Miss Mo, you have already killed 5 demonic beasts today. It's about time. Let's go back to the city. Yun Chuzhou showed a troubled expression and looked at Manager Xia. Manager Xia, I have completed the mission, right? Manager Xia wanted to say that she hadn't completed the mission, but when she saw the fierce eyes of the onlookers, she could only say against her heart, okay, let's call it a day. Yun Chuzhou said happily, I thought that I would have to sleep in the wild today. I didn't expect that I could go back to the mansion to rest. That's great. Thank you, Manager Xia, thank you. Everyone could not help but feel a little sad. This was the eldest daughter of the Mo family, yet she only had such a humble wish. It was really too pitiful. Everyone looked at Manager Xia and the others with strong condemnation and dissatisfaction. Even Mo Fongqin had received a lot of disdainful looks. This third daughter of Mo family was not a good person to see her sister being bullied without helping her. Mo Fongqin, who was caught in the crossfire, could be imagined the grievance in her heart. She walked at the front with a cold face. Before the sun set, Yun Chuzhou returned to Jinchuan City under the escort of everyone. Manager Xia's heart was in a mess. This time, she did not complete the task assigned by Mrs. Luo. She could imagine that she would be reprimanded again after she returned. Just as Manager Xia was immersed in thinking of a countermeasure, Mo Fongqin walked over and snorted coldly. Manager Xia, big sister went into the snack shop in front. I guess she went to buy something again. Manager Xia immediately shivered. What? Manager Xia couldn't think of any countermeasures. The horrifying scene from the day before yesterday suddenly appeared in her mind. She quickly rushed into the snack shop. Manager Xia, you came at the right time. Do you know that I didn't bring any money? Come and pay. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile while chewing on the spiritual fruit. Miss, you bought snacks again. Didn't you buy a lot 2 days ago? Manager Xia saw that the shelves of the snack shop were basically empty, and she suddenly had a bad feeling. Manager Xia, you are wrong to say that. So you have eaten today, but you won't eat tomorrow? Besides, I didn't buy those expensive equipment or anything. Can't I just buy some snacks? Hurry up and pay. If you don't pay, put your identity jade token here. When you send the money over, you can redeem the jade token. After saying that, Yun Chuzhou hopped away happily. Seeing that Yun Chuzhou had left, the manager of the snack shop quickly stopped Manager Xia. Manager Xia, Miss Mo owes me a total of 50,200 high-grade spirit stones. I'll give you the change. Just give me 50,000. Just as Manager Xia was about to argue, she heard Yun Chuzhou say to Mo Fongqin, third sister, I can't let you go back empty-handed after coming out with me. Let's go. I'll bring you to the satin shop to walk around and pick out some nice clothes for you. When Manager Xia heard Yun Chuzhou's words, she was so scared that she threw her identity jade token to the manager of the snack shop. With a roar, she rushed out. Miss. It's almost time for dinner. Let's hurry back to the mansion. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chuzhou blinked her eyes. Manager Xia, there's no hurry to eat. I'm going to pick out some nice clothes for my third sister and give her some beautiful jewelry. Let's go back after a stroll. Manager Xia shook his head like a rattledrum. He wished he could tie this prodigal thing back immediately. Eldest Miss, Madam has just bought a lot of new clothes and jewelry for third Miss. There's no need for third Miss to buy more for the time being. Isn't that right, third Miss? Mo Fongqin nodded with a stiff face, but she was very unhappy in her heart. This Manager Xia was really detestable. It was not easy for a country bumpkin to be so generous, but it was all messed up by her. Yun Chuzhou sighed. All right, if that's the case, then forget it. Third sister, it's not that I'm stingy, it's that Manager Xia doesn't want me to buy it. Here, this spirit fruit is for you as a token of my appreciation. Mo Fangqin wanted to reject it, but she was afraid that the onlookers would say that she was insensible, so she could only take the spirit fruit and stuff it into her storage ring. TSK, this Miss Mo is really kind. Even though she's in such a miserable situation, she still wants to give Miss Mo a gift. That's right, Miss Mo doesn't even know how to say thank you. It's really disrespectful to eldest sister. That Manager Xia is even more outrageous. Didn't she just buy some snacks? The nose is not the nose, the face is not the face. After Miss Mo bought it, didn't she also give it to the other masters of the Mo residence? It's not like she kept it for herself. Manager Xia wished she could roar at these people and give them a big head. She only gave them rotten cabbages. And she only gave them one each. She was even more stubborn than an iron rooster. Not only that, she even extorted a few welcome gifts. However, she could not reveal her dirty laundry to the public. As a mere servant, she naturally did not dare to say anything, so she could only urge Yun Chuzhou to return to the Mo residence as soon as possible. Manager Xia now had the heart to die. Not only did she fail to complete the mission that Mrs. Luo had given her, but now she also owed 50,000 high-grade spirit stones. How was she going to explain this to Mrs. Luo? After bidding farewell to those onlookers enthusiastically, Yun Chuzhou hopped into the Mo residence. Mo Cheng, Mrs. Luo, and Mo Fanghua were just about to have dinner when they heard someone clearly say, "Father, I'm back." Mo Cheng and Mrs. Luo were stunned and they saw Yun Chuzhou walk in. Mrs. Luo glared at Manager Xia. Didn't this good-for-nothing say that she would let this country bumpkin suffer a little? Why did this country bumpkin look more lively than yesterday? Besides, didn't they say that she would sleep in the jungle? Why did she come back? Mo Cheng's face was gloomy. Manager Xia, how was the trial today? Did this rebellious daughter not listen to you and come back on her own accord? Manager Xia wanted to frame Yun Chuzhou, but there were still those onlookers. He could only say, "Master, the eldest miss killed a level 27 demonic beast and 4 level 26 demonic beasts today. She basically completed the mission." Manager Xia said as he winked at Mrs. Luo. Mrs. Luo knew that there was a secret, thus, she tried to smooth things over and said, "All right, Fangqin is only at the second layer of the Supreme Spirit Realm after all. It's not bad to achieve this level on the first day. Fangqin, you guys are tired after a day of the trial. Go back and rest." Upon hearing Madame Luo's words, Mo Fangqin obediently bowed and was about to take her leave. She did not expect Yun Chuzhou to suddenly stop her. She said with a smile, "Third sister, we have been hungry for a day. Father and the others have ready-made food here. Let's eat before going back." Mo Fangqin was stunned and said softly, "Big sister, let's go back and eat." Mo Fangqin could not help but feel wronged and indignant. Other than family banquets, only Mo Fanghua and Mo Junchen had the qualifications to eat with Mo Cheng. She could only go back to her own courtyard to eat. "Third sister, we're all family. Why are you treating us like strangers? What is that person standing there for? Hurry up and add 2 more chairs for me and third sister. Like a wooden stake, you really have no eyesight." Yun Chuzhou dragged Mo Fangqin with one hand and pointed at Chilan with the other. Chilan looked at Mrs. Luo. Mrs. Luo could only say, "In that case, add 2 more chairs and bring 2 bowls and chopsticks up." Chilan quickly got someone to arrange it, and Yun Chuzhou sat down swaggeringly. Mo Fangqin could only carefully sit next to Yun Chuzhou. During this period, Mo Fanghua did not say a word, her eyes full of disdain and disdain. After the dishes were served, Mo Cheng picked up the chopsticks and picked up a mouthful of food. Only then did everyone start to eat. Yun Chujio was busy with this meal. While eating, she also picked up food for Mo Fangqin, third sister. Eat more. Second aunt's food is really delicious. I guess you won't be able to eat such good food normally. Mo Fangqin's face turned red. She couldn't describe what she felt. On one hand, she despised Yun Chujio for being meddlesome and embarrassing her. On the other hand, she felt wronged and unwilling. Why was she her father's daughter? How could Mo Fanghua receive so much preferential treatment compared to her? Yun Chujio was very proud in her heart. The seed of hatred was slowly sprouting. When the time was ripe, it would grow into a towering tree. At that time, she could cut it down and make it into a sword. Mo Cheng's face was livid. He didn't know if Yun Chujio did it on purpose. Anyway, whatever dish Mo Cheng liked to eat, Yun Chujio would eat it. Even if she didn't eat it, it would be ruined. I'm full. You guys can eat. Mo Cheng flung his sleeves and angrily walked out. Yun Chujio acted as if nothing had happened. She smiled at Mo Cheng's back and said, "Father, why do you eat so little? Are you sick? Quickly find a doctor to take a look. I don't want to become a person without a father or mother again." Mo Cheng staggered and turned around angrily. "Evil creature. Are you cursing me?" Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. "Father, I'm concerned about you. You haven't eaten as much as I have. Are you really sick? It's bad to avoid doctors when it's a taboo. Second aunt, quickly find a doctor for my father." The veins on Mo Cheng's forehead were popping up, but Yun Chujio's words could not find any faults. He could only angrily say to Mrs. Luo, "Xiaoyun, come to my study room later." After Mrs. Luo agreed, Mo Cheng left in a huff. Mrs. Luo knew that Mo Cheng was definitely going to ask what was going on today, so she could not wait for Yun Chujio to finish eating quickly. However, Yun Chujio ate very slowly. One rice grain after another was put into her mouth. Mrs. Luo was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Mo Fanghua, who was at the side, frowned. She said coldly to Yun Chujio, "Mo Fanghua, I advise you to put away your shameless tricks as soon as possible. Father and mother are just soft-hearted. Otherwise, it would be easy to kill you." Yun Chujio raised her head and looked at him. "Mo Fanghua. Second sister, I also advise you to put away your high and mighty tricks. Otherwise, it's only right and proper for me to teach my stepsister a lesson." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Mo Fanghua stood up immediately. "Country bumpkin, who do you think you are? A legitimate daughter? A piece of trash like you is a disgrace to the Mo family. Apologize to me right now, or I'll kill you right now." Mo Fangqin was gloating at the side. This country bumpkin had kicked an iron plate. Mo Fanghua had always been a man of her word. This time, there would be a good show to watch. Yun Chujio did not even look at Mo Fanghua. Instead, she said to Madame Luo, "Second aunt, I'm full. I'll be returning with third sister." Madame Luo's eyes flickered. "Alright, you guys have been tired all day. Go back and have a good rest. Fanghua, stay here. Mother has something to tell you." Mo Fanghua could only glare at Yun Chujio when she heard Luo clan's words. Only then did she return to her seat. After Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin left, Madame Luo sighed. "Fanghua, why are you so impatient? Leave this country bumpkin to mother. Just focus on your cultivation. There's no need to lower yourself to the level of these bastards. Mother, this country bumpkin is really detestable. She has only been back for 3 days, yet she has already caused a ruckus in our Mo residence. If you ask me, you and father are too kind-hearted. Why did you bring back such trash? Just let her fend for herself." Mo Fanghua said disdainfully. "You don't understand. This country bumpkin has a great use. There's nothing for you here. Go back and cultivate. Mother, what great use can that country bumpkin have with such a low spiritual power? What are you and father planning to let her do? Mo Fanghua asked curiously. This matter is of great importance. You don't have to ask anymore. Quickly go back and cultivate. Mrs. Luo waved her hand, indicating for Mo Fanghua not to ask anymore. Seeing this, Mo Fanghua could only pout and leave. Speak, what exactly is going on? Seeing that Mo Fanghua had left, Madame Luo asked Manager Xia. Manager Xia explained the whole matter with a bitter face. Madam, those people are all supporting that country bumpkin. It's really detestable to the extreme. Hearing Manager Xia's words, Madame Luo could not help but frown. That day outside the Mo residence, those people were also speaking up for the country bumpkin. Today, it was like this again. What was the reason for this? The master and servant duo discussed it over and over again. In the end, they felt that it must be the other factions that could not see the Mo residence as a good place, so they had sent people to instigate it. They did not suspect that it was Yun Chujia's doing. Because in their opinion, although Yun Chujio was a little rogue, it was impossible for her to have the ability to instigate those people. Madam, if that's the case, are we still going to the dense forest for the trial tomorrow? Of course. I don't believe that those people can always protect the country bumpkin. It's already good enough that they can last for 3 days. At that time, you can follow the original plan and teach that country bumpkin a lesson. Madame Luo sneered. Manager Xia nodded, then gritted her teeth and said, Madam, there's one more thing. What is it? Well, that country bumpkin spent another 50,000 upper-grade spirit stones. This servant didn't have the time to stop him, so I had no choice but to place my identity jade token in the snack shop. Manager Xia braced herself and said. She had even thrown away the cost of her coffin. She really didn't have the money to pay for it. Madame Luo was so angry that she directly slapped Manager Xia on the face. You trash. You can't even keep an eye on a trash. I told you to clean her up, but not only did you not clean her up, you even cost me 50,000 spirit stones, you idiot. Manager Xia's left face immediately swelled up, and she said fearfully, Madam, please calm down, madam. This servant understands my mistake, this servant understands my mistake. Madame Luo lectured her once more before saying, this is 50,000 high-grade spirit stones. Go and redeem your identity jade token tomorrow. This is the last time. If you let that country bumpkin waste money again, I won't forgive you. Manager Xia was on the verge of tears. Madam, this servant might not have rested well after returning from the Tianyuan continent, so recently, my brain has been a little lacking. Why don't you arrange for another person to follow that country bumpkin to the trial? Madame Luo frowned and thought for a moment. That's fine too. The master is probably unhappy with you for finding me. I'll ask him to send another person to follow that country bumpkin to the trial. Manager Xia was so excited that tears were coming out. Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Manager Xia felt that his hard days had finally come to an end. He no longer had to worry about the country bumpkin spending money. He no longer had to endure the rolling eyes of the bystanders. He no longer had to be slapped in the face. Mrs. Luo went to Mo Cheng's study. Without waiting for Mo Cheng to ask, she told him everything. Master, I feel that this matter definitely has something to do with those few families. They just want to see us as a joke. Mo Cheng smacked the table angrily. Humph. Those families are very close to my good brother and that good brother of mine. Perhaps they secretly instructed them to do so. It's all that unfilial daughter's fault. A fly doesn't bite a seamless egg. If it weren't for her disobedience, those people wouldn't have had the chance to target us. If it weren't for that matter, I would have killed her with a single sword. Master, you don't have to be too angry. A little girl won't be able to stir up much trouble. Once she has suffered a little, she will be obedient. Master, Manager Xia may have exhausted too much of her spiritual power when she passed through the enchantment, so she hasn't been in a good mood recently. It's really difficult for her to do things. Why don't you arrange for another person to follow Feng Chao to the trial tomorrow? Madame Luo said gently as she massaged Mo Cheng's shoulder. Mo Cheng was obviously very pleased. He nodded. Then let He Sha bring her. He Sha is my right-hand man. He will definitely be able to restrain that rebellious daughter. The next day, after Yun Chuzhou had breakfast, Manager Xia came over. Miss, the master arranged for Commander He Sha to go with you to the forest for the trial today. He Sha is waiting outside the manor's door. He'll accompany you there. Manager Xia happened to go to the snack shop to redeem his identity jade token. Yun Chuzhou showed a shocked expression. Manager Xia, why is there a change of people? I really can't bear to part with you. Why don't I go to second aunt and ask you to accompany me? Manager Xia was so scared that he trembled. Miss, I am not feeling well. Let Commander He Sha accompany you. Yun Chuzhou could not help but laugh. She did not point it out. If that's the case, then forget it. Let's go. Only then did Manager Xia heave a sigh of relief. What a joke. It was not easy to get out of the fire pit. Only a fool would jump into it again. Mo Fengqin also happened to arrive. Hence, the three of them arrived at the main door of the Mo residence together. The moment Manager Xia stepped out of the main door, she felt as though her heart had gone crazy. She saw that there were already dozens of people gathered outside. They were the onlookers from yesterday. All of them had glowing faces. When they saw Yun Chuzhou come out, all of them looked as if they had been injected with stimulants. Miss Mo, you weren't punished yesterday, right? We were worried, so we came over early in the morning to take a look. Yun Chuzhou smiled and cupped her hands at them. Thank you for your concern. Although my father was a little unhappy, he did not punish me. He just did not let Manager Xia accompany me today. Instead, it was Commander He Sha. I don't know if he thinks that I did not complete my mission well yesterday. The onlookers immediately let their imaginations run wild. They could not help but discuss among themselves that He Sha is famous for being vicious. The Mo family head wants him to follow Miss Mo to the trials. This is clearly giving Miss Mo a hard time. What you said makes sense. I don't know what the Mo family head is thinking, to actually be so ruthless to his own biological daughter. We have nothing to do on the left and right. Let's go and take a look. Otherwise, Miss Mo will definitely suffer a great loss. Manager Xia was slightly better off. After all, he had already gained experience yesterday. However, He Sha, who was standing at the side, had received a huge shock. Were these people sick? He Sha was the commander of the Mo residence's guards. He had a dark and ruthless personality. Initially, he did not think much of Mo Cheng's request for him to accompany Yun Chuzhou to the trial. Now, his impression of Yun Chuzhou was even worse. He Sha glanced at Yun Chuzhou coldly. Eldest miss, it's getting late. Let's hurry and set off. Yun Chuzhou trembled for a moment and stammered, all right, let's go. Everyone, if you have something to do, don't follow us. If worst comes to worst, they'll just camp out in the dense forest today. When the onlookers saw how frightened Yun Chuzhou was by He Sha, all of them immediately patted their chests and said, Miss Mo, we're going to the forest to hunt. Don't worry. If anyone dares to offend our superiors, we'll help you to seek justice. Yes, yesterday's method was quite good. Today, we'll do it again. Miss Mo, you can rest assured. He Sha frowned. No wonder the master asked him to go with her. He didn't expect that this good-for-nothing miss would have so many people to help her. However, these people were just a motley crew. Once they reached the forest, it was not up to them. Everyone had their own thoughts and set off towards the forest. Yun Chujio was much quieter today than yesterday. From time to time, she would even wipe her tears with her sleeves. The onlookers immediately came up with a lot of content. They could not help but feel more sympathy for Yun Chujio. At the same time, they were even more dissatisfied with He Sha. The situation was exactly the same as yesterday. There were too many people, and the demonic beasts all fled upon hearing the news. Just as He Sha was about to let everyone leave, someone drove a level 26 giant-toothed bull over. "Miss Mo, you can start the trial now." He Sha was a little confused. What did this mean? Some guards came to his side and said, "Commander, it was like this yesterday. Those people drove the demonic beasts over, and then Miss fought with the demonic beasts." He Sha could not help but snort coldly. These people were really full of themselves. He Sha was different from Manager Xia. Although he was also afraid of the people from the other forces, he thought that those people would not openly fall out for Yun Chujio. Therefore, He Sha said coldly, "Everyone, the reason why the eldest miss came to the trial is to challenge herself. You are not helping her but harming her. We still have the trial, so please go ahead." When those people heard He Sha's words, they all started to clamor. They did not expect that He Sha would hit the tree next to him. The huge tree immediately fell to the ground with a loud bang. Those people immediately panicked. It did not matter if they sympathized or just watched the show. The prerequisite was that there was no danger. This He Sha was vicious and merciless. He might really make a move, so they all found excuses to escape. Yun Chujio did not mind. These people were just fence-sitters. It was already good enough that they could do this. After an hour, Yun Chujio finally killed the giant-toothed bull. He Sha curled his lips. Although this good-for-nothing young lattice movement technique was not bad, she was still too weak. It was easy to make her suffer a little. Hence, Yun Chujio was in a miserable state. The demonic beasts that He Sha had found for her were basically all level 28 demonic beasts. Yun Chujio, this fellow, still did not want to reveal her spiritual power, so she was in a very sorry state. Her body was also covered in wounds. He Sha thought that Yun Chujio would soon be unable to hold on and give up. He did not expect that Yun Chujio did not beg for mercy even though her body was covered in wounds. Mo Fengqin saw that Yun Chujio's light pink dress was stained with a large amount of blood. However, she was still fighting with the demonic beasts. A thought emerged in her mind. This country bumpkin did not seem to be a good-for-nothing. Yun Chujio also made up her mind. Damn it. No matter what, she was indeed too weak now. It was good to take the opportunity to try her out. After all, these people would not watch her die. Finally, He Sha said coldly, "Miss, let's call it a day. However, your spiritual power is too weak. Let's sleep here today and continue the test tomorrow." He Sha had already thought about what he should say if Yun Chujio did not agree with him. He did not expect Yun Chujio to say with a smile, "Okay, the time to go back and forth has been delayed by the journey. It is good to stay here." He Sha was stunned for a moment before he snorted coldly. He felt that Yun Chujio must be trying to hold on. Since she was stubborn, he would see how long she could hold on. Mo Fengqin hesitated for a moment before she walked over. "Big sister, are you alright?" "Don't worry, I won't die. I need to take a shower and change my clothes." "You better watch out for me," Yun Chujio said with a smile. Mo Fengqin was dumbfounded. Was this country bumpkin crazy? What nonsense was he talking about? How could he take a shower in the wilderness? Just as Mo Fangqin was dumbfounded, she saw Yun Chuzhou take out a tent made of wood from her storage ring. Yun Chuzhou covered the tent with a cloth before walking in. Soon, the sound of water being stirred came from inside. Mo Fangqin was surprised and curious. This country bumpkin actually carried a tent and a bathtub with him. Could it be that she often slept outside when she was in the Tianyuan continent? Not long after, Yun Chuzhou came out in a light purple dress. Mo Fangqin felt a trace of jealousy in her heart. This country bumpkin was not bad looking. She was even more beautiful than Mo Fanghua, who was known as the #1 beauty in Jinchuan City. It was a pity that she was a waste. On the other side, He Sha and the guards were barbecuing meat. They did not greet the two of them. It was obvious that they did not want to bother with them. Mo Fangqin said with a cold face, "Big sister, what shall we have for dinner?" Yun Chuzhou smiled brightly. "Third sister, let's eat something good. Follow me and I will guarantee you a good meal." Mo Fangqin pouted. This country bumpkin was really daring. However, she had ordered 10 tables for the banquet at Ji Qing restaurant. It was not bad to eat that. Unexpectedly, Yun Chuzhou handed her an alchemy furnace and a few pieces of flint stones. Mo Fangqin's face was full of confusion. What was this country bumpkin doing? Could it be that he wanted to refine fasting pills for me to eat? Was this what she meant by eating well and drinking spicy food? "Big sister, I have a fasting pill. You don't have to refine it," Mo Fangqin said with extreme disdain. This country bumpkin was really stingy. He clearly had a banquet at Ji Qing restaurant, but he didn't take it out. He actually wanted to refine a fasting pill. To be stingy to this extent, there was no one else. "What fasting pill?" "Let's eat shabu hot pot," Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. There was no such thing as hot pot in the immortal Yuan continent, so Mo Fangqin was at a loss. "What is hot pot?" Yun Chuzhou looked at her with a smile. Then, she took out a small stone table and 2 stone chairs. She also took out a few plates of cut ingredients and seasonings. Mo Fangqin was dumbfounded. Was this country bumpkin crazy? It was one thing to carry a tent and a bathtub, but what was the meaning of carrying a stone table and a stone chair? Yun Chuzhou lit up the flint stone and placed the hot pot soup into the alchemy furnace. Then, she began to slowly prepare the hot pot. Mo Fangqin initially did not think much of it, but when she smelled the fragrance and saw that Yun Chuzhou was eating enthusiastically, she quickly imitated Yun Chuzhou and started to prepare the hot pot. Mo Fangqin was quickly conquered by the taste of the hot pot. Firstly, the taste was really good, and secondly, it was very novel, so she ate very happily. The fragrance spread, and some guards could not sit still. They came over to take a look, and immediately felt that the originally delicious roasted meat was a little dry and boring. If they wanted to, they could also eat the hot pot. However, there was no pot and no seasoning, so they could only watch Yun Chuzhou and Mo Fangqin eat. Mo Fangqin felt that this country bumpkin had some use, and her face looked a little better. After the two of them finished eating, Yun Chuzhou said, "Third sister, although my tent isn't very spacious, it's not a problem for 2 people to sleep in it. You can squeeze in with me." Although Mo Fangqin didn't really like this simple tent, it was still better than sleeping outside. Hence, she nodded and followed Yun Chuzhou into the tent. Mo Fangqin looked at the interior of the tent and couldn't help but be stunned. She did not expect that the tent that looked very simple outside would actually be very comfortable inside. There was a luminous pearl hanging at the top and a pure white cashmere blanket underneath. Mo Fangqin thought that Yun Chuzhou would say something, but she did not expect Yun Chuzhou to yawn. "Third sister, I'm exhausted today. Hurry up and rest. Anyway, those guards will be on night duty." Hearing that, Mo Fangqin had no choice but to rest as well. In the next few days, Yun Chujia's clothes were stained with blood every day. On several occasions, if it wasn't for Black Demon, Yun Chujio would have been bitten to death by demonic beasts. However, even so, Yun Chujio never mentioned giving up on returning to the Mo family. Those guards couldn't bear it any longer. They didn't expect the good-for-nothing Miss to be so tenacious. Although her spiritual power was low now, she might become stronger in time. However, her heavenly thunder spiritual root probably wouldn't live long. Every day, other than the trials, Yun Chujio would bring Mo Fangqin to eat. After that, she would not say much and would go to sleep after eating. Mo Fangqin felt an inexplicable unease in her heart. What was this country bumpkin doing? Why did he suddenly treat her so well? Xiao Hanio in Yun Chujia's spiritual beast bag could not help but be secretly happy. This silly girl, our black-hearted master, is obviously fishing. Just as Yun Chujio was in the midst of her training, He Sha received Mo Cheng's voice transmission talisman and asked him to immediately bring Yun Chujio back to the residence. Yun Chujio could not help but be puzzled. Why was he in such a hurry to let her go back? Eldest Miss, the master wants us to return to the mansion immediately. Please. He Sha said coldly. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes. All right, let's go. Yun Chujio and Mo Fangqin walked at the front of the group. Mo Fangqin did not even feel that she had already gotten used to being with Yun Chujio. Not long after they walked out, Yun Chujio jumped up with a roar. Mo Fangqin was so scared that she staggered. Was this country bumpkin crazy? He Sha and the guards were also shocked. He Sha asked with a gloomy face, Miss, what's wrong? He Sha, I remembered something very important. I can't go back empty-handed when I'm out training. I want to hunt a demonic beast for my father. He Sha frowned. Miss, didn't you hunt a lot of demonic beasts a few days ago? Why don't you just give those to the family head? Yun Chujio shook her head. Those aren't new. I want to hunt the freshest one and give it to my father. Yun Chujio jumped to the side after saying that, ignoring He Sha's dissuasion from behind. He Sha could only chase after her. Mo Fangqin and the others also chased after her. Mo Fangqin couldn't help but curse in her heart. What was this country bumpkin trying to do this time? Give a gift to his father? Go and lie to a ghost. When He Sha chased after them, Yun Chujio was already fighting with a level 24 giant-toothed iron bone pig. He Sha saw that the level of the giant-toothed iron bone pig was not high, so he thought about it and did not stop it. He stood at the side and watched the battle. After a quarter of an hour, Yun Chujio finally killed the giant-toothed iron bone pig. However, she herself was in a very sorry state. Her hair was disheveled and her body was covered in blood. Of course, the blood belonged to the giant-toothed iron bone pig. Yun Chujio put the giant-toothed iron bone pig into her storage ring and said happily, all right, we can leave now. Father will definitely like this gift I gave him. He Sha curled his lips. Not to mention a level 24 demonic beast, even if it was a level 30 demonic beast, the family head would not take it seriously. 2 hours later, they entered Jinchuan City. Very soon, a group of onlookers discovered Yun Chujio and her group. They could not help but discuss among themselves, oh God, look at how miserable Miss Mo is. Her body is covered in blood. It has only been a few days since we last met. I think Miss Mo has lost at least 5 kilograms. Yeah, how pitiful. I think He Sha has tortured Miss Mo many times. She has almost lost her human form. If it weren't for the people from the Mo residence, I think Miss Mo would still be suffering. I reckon that this Mo residence has also heard about Miss Mo's matter. Otherwise, why would He Sha bring Miss Mo back? He Sha couldn't help but feel a little suspicious when he heard the discussions of these people. Could it be that this good-for-nothing miss had intentionally caused such a sorry state? Yun Chujio, this fellow, naturally did it on purpose. She couldn't be bothered to give Mo Cheng any gifts. This fellow's Black Lotus skill was full of points, and he wouldn't let go of any opportunities for the Black Ink residents. People from the Mo mansion. What were they doing here? Were they specially here to rescue her, this Cinderella? Don't joke around. If they had the heart, they wouldn't have stopped looking for her for more than 10 years. No matter what they were here for, they would just have to deal with it when the time came. Soon, everyone returned to the Mo mansion. Manager Xia was looking around at the main entrance. When she saw Yun Chujio in a sorry state, she frowned. He came over and whispered, "Miss, someone has come to the old residence. You should go back and wash up first before going to the living room to meet the guests. The master asked me to specifically instruct you not to say anything that you shouldn't. Otherwise, the master will not forgive you." Manager Xia, what did you say? My ears haven't been working properly recently. You said that my father misses me. He wants to see me immediately. That's great, I'll go see him now. Before Manager Xia could react, Yun Chujio ran away like a happy rabbit. Manager Xia almost spat out a mouthful of blood. This country bumpkin must have done it on purpose. Sooner or later, her life would be on the hands of this country bumpkin. Manager Xia risked her life to chase after her. However, Yun Chujio had gone through a few days of training and her movement speed had become faster. In addition, the distance from the main door to the living room was not that far. Manager Xia could only watch as Yun Chujio hopped into the living room with great honor. In the living room, Mo Cheng was talking to two middle-aged men. One of the older men was Mo Cheng's eldest brother, Mo Peng, and the younger one was Mo Cheng's younger brother, Mo Chang. Mo Peng said with a fake smile, "Second brother, this fragrant grass has been lost for more than 10 years, yet you still haven't thought of looking for it. Why did you bring it back now? I heard that you even borrowed father's great wilderness heaven battering bell." Mo Cheng sighed, "Eldest brother, fragrant grass is my biological daughter. I've been thinking about her all these years. Now that I finally have the ability, I naturally have to bring her back." Mo Chang laughed coldly, "Second brother, you don't need to tell me and big brother about your lies. If you really loved Fong Chao, you wouldn't have mistreated her. When I entered the city, I heard many people say that you mistreated Fong Chao." Mo Cheng laughed coldly, "Third brother, this rumor stops at a wise man. Even a tiger's poison doesn't eat its own son. How could I mistreat my biological daughter?" Biological daughter? That might not be the case. Second brother, you casually found a girl and said that she was the missing Fong Chao. Isn't this a little too hasty? Mo Cheng slapped the table and said, "Third brother. What kind of words are you saying? How could I casually find someone to say that she was my daughter? When Fong Chao went missing, she was wrapped in a small quilt with our Mo residence's logo on it. Moreover, the time when those people found Fong Chao and the time when she went missing were also the same. Most importantly, Fong Chao's appearance and that bitch are exactly the same as your first sister-in-law." Mo Chang was rendered speechless by Mo Cheng's rebuke. Mo Peng spoke, "Second brother, although what you said is very reasonable, Fong Chao went missing in the immortal Yuan continent back then. Why would she appear in the Azure Mystic continent? How did you know that Fong Chao was in the Azure Mystic continent?" This, naturally someone told me the whereabouts of Fong Chao. As for why she ended up in the Azure Mystic continent that day, to be honest, I'm not too sure either. Mo Cheng evaded the question. Just as Mo Peng and Mo Chang were about to ask further, they saw a little girl with disheveled hair and covered in blood rushing in. "Father, I've finally returned alive." Mo Peng and Mo Chang were both shocked. Where did this beggar come from? Could this be that Mo Fong Chao? Her appearance was very similar to second brother's original wife. When Mo Cheng saw Yun Chujio's honorable appearance, he fiercely glared at Manager Xia who was chasing after him. This good-for-nothing specially asked her to stop this rebellious daughter. Why didn't she stop her? Before Mo Cheng could speak, Mo Peng said, You are my pitiful niece Fang Chao, right? I am your uncle. How did you do this? Mo Chao, I am your third uncle. If you have any grievances, just tell third uncle. Third uncle will make the decision for you. Mo Chang hurriedly said. Yun Chujiu saw the scheming look in their eyes and could not help but have a cold look in her eyes. Could it be that the members of the Mo family were all such selfish and cold-blooded people? This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Before Yun Chujiu could say anything, Mo Cheng said, Why aren't you going back to clean up? You don't have the demure demeanor of a girl at all. It's really unbecoming. Father, I'm going for a trial, not a sightseeing trip. Naturally, it's impossible for me to be spotless. Sigh, I knew that no matter what I do, Father wouldn't be satisfied. To think that I even specially hunted down a giant-toothed iron-bone pig for you. As Yun Chujiu spoke, tears fell from her eyes. Her face was already covered in dust, but now, it was washed away one by one. Mo Peng patted the coffee table beside him. Second brother, not to be a big brother, but this child Fang Chao has suffered a lot. Since you found her, you should treat her well. Mo Chang also said, That's right, second brother. I've heard about it in the old residence. The entire Jinchuan city has some complaints about our Mo residence. It's because you've mistreated my poor niece. Mo Cheng was very displeased when he heard the sarcasm of the two people. He coldly said, This rebellious daughter is very mischievous. Moreover, her spiritual power is too low. What's wrong with me letting her go to the trial? Besides, He Sha has brought people to protect her. There won't be any problems at all. Second brother, what you said is really nice. Jun Chen is already 13 years old and is only at the third level of the spiritual venerable realm. Why don't you let him go to the dense forest for the trial? I think you just don't like Fang Chao. Since you don't like Fang Chao, then take Fang Chao over to our 3 branches. I will definitely treat her as my own child. Third brother, don't you already have 2 daughters? Our branch only has 1 girl, so it's just right for Fang Chao to be taken over to our branch. Big brother, this has nothing to do with the children. I hit it off with Fang Chao as soon as I saw her. I feel like she's my biological daughter. Third brother, you look like you hit it off. I look like I hit it off even more. Fang Chao is even more like my biological daughter than Fang Xuan. Mo Cheng slapped the table. Shut up. Fang Chao is my daughter. Don't even think about taking over. Yun Chujiu blinked her eyes. Why did she feel like Tang Sanzang? What were these people trying to do with her? Mo Peng and Mo Chang glared at each other, then the two of them once again reached a united front. Mo Chang said, Second brother, it's not a matter of whether you want to or not. Now that the entire Jinchuan city knows that you guys are abusing Fang Chao, look at how pitiful Fang Chao looks. Even as her uncle, I can't bear it. Fang Chao, tell third uncle, do you want to continue being third uncle's daughter? As long as you agree, third uncle will definitely be able to get your grandfather and grandmother to agree. Mo Peng also hurriedly said, Fang Chao, eldest uncle's family only has your sister Fang Xuan as a girl. If you succeed in becoming eldest uncle's daughter, you will definitely be 100 times happier than you are now. Madame Luo saw the situation and could not help but say with some panic, Big brother, third brother, Fang Chao has just returned. She must be tired. It's better to let her go back and rest. Mo Chang glared at Madame Luo. Second sister-in-law, this is our Mo family's matter. You, a person with another surname, should not get involved. Moreover, strictly speaking, you are only a concubine's mother. What right do you have to criticize my Fang Chao niece? Madame Luo's face was flushed with embarrassment. However, she could not say anything. She could only look at Yun Chujio with a vicious gaze. The meaning in her eyes was self-evident. If Yun Chujio really agreed to step into the main or third wife, she would definitely not let Yun Chujio off. Yun Chujio smiled at her. Mrs. Luo's heart skipped a beat. This country bumpkin would not really agree, right? If that was the case, wouldn't it be a waste of effort to make a wedding dress for someone else? This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Uncle, third uncle, both of you said that you would treat me well, but how do I know if what you said is true? Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and said in puzzlement. This. Mo Pang and Mo Chang were in a difficult situation. How could they prove that this didn't happen? Oh right, uncle, third uncle, this is the first time you've seen me. Shouldn't you give me a greeting gift? Yun Chujio said with a smile. Mo Pang and Mo Chang's eyes lit up. This was a good opportunity. Whichever family's gift was valuable, this little girl would most likely be inclined towards whichever family. The two of them did not doubt Yun Chujio's determination to leave the second branch. This was because they had received news that this little girl had suffered a lot of abuse in the second branch and had even been forced to go to the dense forest to train for a few days. Niece Fangchao, uncle will give you a high-grade spirit tool. Niece Fangchao, third uncle will give you a high-grade spirit tool too. Yun Chujio took the two high-grade spirit tools in her hands and looked at them, then said with difficulty, Uncle, third uncle, the gifts you two give each other are very expensive. I really don't know who treats me better. Uncle will give you another one. Mo Peng hurriedly said. Mo Chang naturally wasn't willing to be outdone. Third uncle will give you two more. Uncle will give you 3. Third uncle will give you 4. Uncle will give you 5, and an additional 100,000 high-grade spirit stones. Third uncle will give you an additional 200,000 high-grade spirit stones. As they spoke, they took out their items. Yun Chujio quickly put them into her storage ring. TSK, the immortal essence continent is still the best. There are so many opportunities to make a fortune here. Mo Pang and Mo Chang's bids grew higher and higher. In the end, both of them shouted for 20 million high-grade spirit stones. The atmosphere became increasingly tense. Both of their eyes were bloodshot, as if they were about to fight. Cough cough, cough cough. Uncle, third uncle, calm down. I can see that both of you treat my niece quite well. As for the matter of the succession, I, as a junior, can't make the decision. It's better to listen to my father. I've just returned from the trial and am really too tired. I'll take my leave first. You guys chat, you guys chat. Yun Chujio finished her sentence and ran out. Mo Peng was stunned. Mo Chang was stunned. Mo Cheng was stunned. Everyone in the room was stunned. Finally, someone reacted. This Uncle Mo and Third Master Mo seemed to have been, probably, 80% cheated by country bumpkins, right? For the first time, Mo Cheng felt that Yun Chujio had some redeeming qualities. He couldn't help but laugh out loud. Big brother, third brother, I've really let you guys spend so much money. I didn't expect that after not seeing you for a few days, you guys would be so generous. You actually gave Fangchao such a generous gift. Mo Pang and Mo Chang's faces were almost as red as pigs' livers. This little girl was really too mean. She played us two elders like fools. As expected of second brother's daughter, she was simply as sinister and cunning as him. Humph. Second brother, you don't have to be proud. The news of Jinchuan City has already spread to father's ears. You know father's temper, sooner or later he will find you to lecture him. Second brother, I have to admire your brain. For that matter, you actually found this niece who hasn't been interested in you for many years. However, you should be careful not to shoot yourself in the foot. I heard that the fragrant grass is a heavenly thunder spirit root, right? Perhaps she will be struck to death by the heavenly thunder at that time. At that time, your efforts will have been in vain. Mo Chang's heart tightened and a layer of cold sweat could not help but appear on his forehead. Mo Chang's words reminded him that he had almost forgotten that rebellious daughter was a heavenly thunder spirit root that was not tolerated by the heavenly Tao. When Mo Chang had asked manager Xia to look for Yun Chuzhou, he had not known that Yun Chuzhou had a heavenly thunder spirit root. If he had known, he would not have taken the risk to look for her. Mo Chang could not help but feel some lingering fear. The higher the spiritual power of the heavenly thunder spirit root, the easier it would be to be wiped out by the Tian Dao. He could not allow that rebellious girl to increase her spiritual power anymore. Just as Mo Chang's face was gloomy and uncertain, the sky suddenly darkened. At first, everyone didn't pay too much attention to it, thinking that it might be cloudy. However, the sky was getting darker and darker. Even though they were inside the house, they could still feel a huge pressure. Some people with low spiritual power couldn't even breathe. Oh my God! Could it be that Tian Dao is going to send down heavenly lightning to kill Fang Chao's niece? Mo Peng suddenly cried out in surprise. Mo Chang's expression changed. What he was afraid of really came true. If it was really for that rebellious daughter, how could that rebellious daughter withstand the heavenly lightning? She would definitely be killed by Tian Dao. Then, wouldn't all his efforts be in vain? At this moment, Yun Chuzhou had already walked into the courtyard and looked up at the sky. Then, she said to Dong Qing and Xia Yi, "This heavenly lightning is most likely coming to strike me. If you want to be buried with me, then stay obediently in this courtyard. If you don't want to die, then scram." Naturally, Dong Qing and Xia Yi would not wait here to die. They immediately ran away. Yun Chuzhou shouted from behind, "Tell the others to scram far away as well. If they are accidentally struck by the heavenly lightning, I won't be responsible." Without Yun Chuzhou saying anything, those servants had already run far away. What a joke, that was the heavenly lightning. If they did not run, they would be fools. Mo Chang and the others were also very worried about being accidentally injured by the heavenly lightning, so they all ran to the main street outside the Mo residence. As for Yun Chuzhou's safety, they naturally would not care. Although Yun Chuzhou was useful, her life was not as important as hers. Yun Chuzhou naturally did not let Dong Qing and the others leave because she was thinking of keeping it a secret. She was not afraid of being struck by lightning, so the fewer people who knew about it, the better. Yun Chuzhou took out a handkerchief to wrap her hair and then walked to a corner of the courtyard so that people who were far away from her could not see her. The clouds in the sky were getting thicker and heavier, and the sky was getting darker and darker. It was almost pitch black. Yun Chuzhou stretched out her hand and shook it. She mumbled, "So this is what it means to be blind." Xiao Hanio could not help but complain, "Master, it's already so late, and you still have the mood to think about such nonsense. The heavenly lightning in the immortal Yuan continent is definitely much stronger than the heavenly lightning in the Tian Yuan continent. You should be more careful. Don't worry, I'm still a stranger to those Wu Yun. They don't know that I'm so abnormal, so I'm definitely not well prepared for the first strike. Besides, I haven't been struck by lightning for a long time. I really miss the feeling of being struck by lightning. I'm finally going to break through." Yun Chuzhou said excitedly, she was just about to dance. Xiao Hanio, Mo. Alright, a black-hearted master like him couldn't be judged by common sense. Speaking of which, it had been a long time since I leveled up. It just so happened that I absorbed a few heavenly lightning bolts to supplement my strength. Xiao Mogu timidly said, "Master, this baby also needs to absorb heavenly lightning. This baby has been hungry for a long time." Thus, the three perverts sat in a row, excitedly waiting for the arrival of the heavenly lightning. Wu Yun in the sky was very casual about this mission. Wasn't it just killing a little girl? It was simply too simple, wasn't it? Not to mention a little weakling from the western continent, even those mighty figures from the eastern continent would only need an incense stick to burn. Wu Yun felt that at most 3 bolts of lightning would complete the mission, and then he could float back to hand in the mission. Before Wu Yun struck the lightning, his first step was naturally to find the target. When he saw the 3 perverts sitting in a row in the corner of the wall, he could not help but feel angry. Holy shit! This is too much. What are those 3 weaklings doing? Xiao Mogu had a weird-looking mushroom with a spiritual potato wrapped around each of its mycelium. That little girl was also holding 2 spiritual potatoes in her hands. That ugly bird was the most outrageous, actually using its head to prod a spiritual potato. Could it be that this Yun was going to roast the spiritual potatoes for them? Damn it! It was really too detestable. Chop them to death. Chop them into dregs. At this moment, Xiao Mogu and Xiao Hanio's hearts were on the verge of collapse. They did not want to do it, but they could not withstand the pressure from their black-hearted master. They could only be forced to serve as the grills. Just as Wu Yun was feeling extremely angry, he saw the dirty little girl below him muttering softly, "Could this piece of Wu Yun be a stupid piece of cloud? Why isn't it chopping us? Isn't it very tired to raise its hands? Wa, master, what you said makes sense. I think this Wu Yun is most likely a fool. Otherwise, why would it make the skies so dark? Could it be that it has a guilty conscience and does bad things when the sky is dark? What a pervert. Pervert. Wu Yun was so angry that he kept whipping. He directed a purple heavenly lightning that was as thick as an adult's arm towards Xiao Hanio. Yun Chujio narrowed her eyes. It was indeed stronger than the heavenly lightning in the Tian Yuan continent, but it would not be a problem for it to last for a few hours. Xiao Hanio was struck by the heavenly lightning. Wu Yun could not help but feel very proud. It was just a weak and ugly bird. With this heavenly lightning, it was guaranteed that it would not even be left with the dregs. Just as Wu Yun was feeling proud, he heard Xiao Hanio say in a smug manner, "My body just happened to be itchy. The way you struck me felt so comfortable. It was so comfortable." Wu Yun felt that it was most likely an illusion. This ugly bird was not dead. Not only was it not dead, it was not injured at all. How was this possible? Just as Wu Yun was in a daze, he heard the little girl say, "Xiao He, you stupid bird. Didn't I tell you to use your wings to protect the spiritual potato? Now it's burnt. I'll leave this burnt one for you to eat." Wu Yun couldn't take it anymore. He shot a bolt of lightning at Yun Chujio. His thoughts were very simple. After all, the ugly bird and the little mushroom belonged to this little girl. As long as he killed the little girl, they wouldn't be able to escape. Boom! The heavenly lightning struck Yun Chujio's body. The 3 foodies in her dantian immediately began to fight for it. What a joke! They had been starving for so many days and finally, they started to eat. It didn't matter if they fought over her, but Yun Chujio was unlucky. Her dantian was throbbing with pain, she was so angry that she cursed, "Damn it, all of you, follow the order. If I, the landlord, die, then all of you can only become stray dogs again. Moreover, why are you in such a hurry? This Wu Yun is obviously stupid. I guarantee that after the last lightning strike, she will be willing to leave, and all of you will be full." The 3 foodies immediately stopped after hearing Yun Chujio's roar. They arranged themselves and began to devour the power of the lightning. Wu Yun in the sky was currently in self-doubt. Could it be that the power of the lightning had been greatly reduced because he had not gone on a mission for a long time? In order to test the power of the heavenly lightning, Wu Yun struck down at the Mo residence's main gate. Boom! The Mo residence's main gate, which had been plagued with misfortune, was blasted into dust once again. The members of the Mo residence who were standing outside the gate were so frightened that their legs went soft. They hurriedly scattered and fled in all directions. Wu Yun could not help but feel puzzled. This power was still as awesome as before. Then, why was that ugly bird and that smelly girl fine? Let's try that Xiao Mogu. Boom! A bolt of lightning struck Xiao Mogu's body. Although Xiao Mogu was fine. However, he weakly said to Yun Chujio, "Master, the lightning struck too fast. I didn't have time to turn over these spiritual potatoes and they were burnt. I didn't do it on purpose." Yun Chujio curled her lips. "Stupid. You guys learn from me. I promise to roast these spiritual potatoes until they are tender on the outside and tender on the inside. They are fragrant and delicious." Xiao Hanio and Xiao Mogu quickly said in a fawning manner, "Master, Master, you are the strongest. Master, Master, you are the best. The spiritual potato is roasted until it's fragrant. The heavenly thunder is so angry that it mimics the barking of a dog. Mimics the barking of a dog." Wu Yun was so angry that the dark clouds in the sky were about to twitch. The heavenly thunder kept striking down. The people of Jinchuan City noticed that after the 3 heavenly thunder strikes, the dark clouds in the sky began to roll violently like a stormy wave. All of them felt a tremendous pressure. Some of the cowardly ones immediately knelt on the ground and kept kowtowing and begging for mercy. Rumble! 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 The heavenly lightning continued to strike down, heading towards one of the courtyards of the Mo residence. Mo Cheng and Madame Luo kept sighing. Of course, they were not worried about Yun Chujia's safety, but were worried that their efforts would be in vain. Mo Pang and Mo Chang were gloating. They deserved it. Even if we can't get it, you can forget about getting it. Besides, that wretched girl has cheated us of many things. It would be better if she was struck to death. After Wu Yun struck dozens of lightning bolts in a row, he looked at the ground proudly. He thought that Yun Chujio and the others were 10,000% reduced to dregs. Needless to say, he did not see the 3 perverts on the ground. Wu Yun was very proud. Little fellow, fighting against the lightning bolts. I'll torture you weaklings to death. Wu Yun's pride only lasted for an instant because a chopping board floated out from the deep pit. On it sat a dirty little girl. On her left shoulder stood an ugly bird, and on her right shoulder stood a small mushroom, Xiao Mogu. The little girl was chewing on a spiritual potato. As she chewed, she muttered, "TSK TSK, it's been a long time since I've roasted it. The craftsmanship is still a little rusty, and the roasting is a little uneven. I'll just make do with it." Wu Yun was stunned for a long time and did not move. Impossible, this was impossible. Just now, there were dozens of heavenly lightning strikes. How could they be completely fine? Yun Chujio finished eating 2 roasted spiritual potatoes and wiped her mouth with her sleeve. "Hey, are you going to chop them or not? If not, I'll go back to my room to take a bath." Wu Yun finally came to her senses. No matter what the reason was, she had to chop these 3 scourges to death today. Otherwise, she would not be able to survive in the dark cloud world in the future. Rumble! 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 Dense heavenly lightning struck down towards Yun Chujio and the other 2. Xiao Hanio and Xiao Mogu could not take it anymore. Yun Chujio kept the 2 into her spirit beast pouch, then sat cross-legged on the ground and began to absorb the heavenly lightning. The 3 foodies in her dantian were eating more and more. As soon as the lightning reached her dantian, it was completely devoured by them, as if it was a bottomless pit. The leaves of the guai chow became even more lustrous and green, just like the best jade. There were only 2 holes left in the great void mirror now. The ancient aura of the mirror body became stronger and stronger, and the luster of the black bead became more and more dazzling. A full 2 hours had passed. Other than changing a few holes, Yun Chujio was fine. Occasionally, she even bared her little white teeth at Wu Yun and smiled brightly. Wu Yun felt that his heart had suffered a 10,000-point critical hit. Where did this monster come from? Why couldn't he be struck to death? Wu Yun was naturally unwilling to return dejectedly. Hence, the dense heavenly lightning kept striking down. It would not stop until Yun Chujio was struck to death. Another 4 hours passed, and Wu Yun had no choice but to reluctantly call it a day. It was not because it was afraid, but because the power of lightning had been exhausted, and it could not be struck even if it wanted to. Yun Chujio bared her teeth at it and smiled. Little Wu Yun, you are welcome to strike me at any time. My heart will always be open for you. I love you, moi. Love my ass. Hate you to death. Hate you to death. Hate you to death. Repeat the important things 3 times. Just you wait, little evildoer. If I don't take revenge on this Wu Yun, I will definitely strike you to death next time. Wu Yun flew away trembling. It silently made up its mind. Its biggest goal was to strike this little freak to death. Seeing Wu Yun fly away, Yun Chujio was satisfied to find that her spiritual power level had already broken through to the 6th level of the spiritual venerable realm. It seemed that the heavenly lightning in the immortal Yuan continent was indeed more powerful than the heavenly lightning in the Tian Yuan continent. This guy blinked his eyes. Leveling up was naturally good, but how was he going to deal with the aftermath? The clothes on this guy's body had been hacked into shreds. Fortunately, there was a set of clothes of the same color in the storage ring. After Yun Chujio changed into clean clothes, she used the purple lightning to hack herself. She hacked her clothes into a little bit of rags, but it was not enough to make her naked. She rolled on the ground a few more times. Seeing that the tree next to her had been hacked into charcoal, she used her hand to wipe the black ash all over her face. Then, she sprinkled some demon beast blood on her face and clothes, and some on the ground as well. Then, she adjusted her spiritual power level back to the 2nd level of the spiritual venerable realm. Then, she lay down in a corner and pretended to be dead. Although Mo Cheng and the others saw Wu Yun floating away, they still had lingering fear in their hearts. After waiting for a while to make sure that everything was safe, they entered the Mo residence. The first thing they did was naturally to check on Yun Chujio's life and death. Mo Peng pretended to sigh. Sigh, my poor Fangchao niece. She didn't enjoy a good day and was struck to death by lightning just like that. Second brother, this is all your fault. If you hadn't let Fangchao go for the trial, her spiritual power wouldn't have increased and she wouldn't have been struck by lightning. This is all your fault. Mo Chang gloated at Mo Cheng's misfortune. Mo Cheng's face was cold and he didn't say a word. He was very regretful. If he had known this would happen, he wouldn't have let that rebellious girl go to the trial. Now, he had wasted so much manpower and resources for nothing. Among these people, there was only one person who felt a little sad, and that was Mo Fangqin. She didn't understand why she felt a little sad. Logically speaking, what did the death of that country bumpkin have to do with her? At most, she would have one less person to share Mrs. Luo's attention. Mo Fangqin shook her head. She must have been too tired recently. It was good that the country bumpkin was dead. Otherwise, her fate would not have been any better. Her father and mother must have had a purpose in bringing her back. As the group approached the sunny rain pavilion, they smelled a strong burning smell. Everyone thought that Yun Chujio was dead for sure. Moreover, their bodies were probably chopped into ashes. Since the courtyard door had been chopped off, everyone went straight into the courtyard. The courtyard was in a mess. The original trees and swing had been burnt to ashes, and there were a few deep pits on the ground. However, was that country bumpkin lying on the ground over there? Niece Fangchao actually got a complete corpse. This is considered as Tian Dao showing mercy. Second brother, bury niece Fangchao properly. No matter what, this is the blood of our Mo family, Mo Peng pretended to say. Mo Chang was somewhat gloating as he said to Madame Luo, second sister-in-law, we are all men and it's not good for us to go forward. You should go and look at Fang Chao's niece's corpse. Of course, Mrs. Luo was unwilling to go over, but she had no choice but to walk over unwillingly for the sake of her face. She even pretended to be sad. Fang Chao, I didn't expect you to die at such a young age. Don't worry, your father and I will bury you properly. Mrs. Luo walked over to Yun Chujia's corpse as she spoke. She squatted down and turned Yun Chujia's body over. Yun Chujia's eyes were tightly shut, and her face was full of charred black and blood stains. Mrs. Luo sneered in her heart. Although it was a pity to die, the things in her storage ring would be theirs once she died. It could be considered as some compensation. Just as Mrs. Luo was thinking about it, she saw Yun Chujio suddenly open her eyes and stick out her long tongue. Second aunt, I died so tragically. Mrs. Luo was so scared that her butt fell to the ground. Yun Chujio stretched out her two hands to grab Mrs. Luo. Mrs. Luo was so scared that she screamed and tried to dodge backward. Unfortunately, there was a deep pit behind her and she fell into it. The pit was more than 100 feet deep. Otherwise, Yun Chujio would not have to sit on the chopping board to come up. After a muffled sound, there was no movement inside. Things happened too quickly. Mo Cheng and the others did not have time to react. They could only watch as Mrs. Luo fell into the deep pit. Mother! Mo Fanghua screamed and rushed to the edge of the pit. Mo Cheng also quickly jumped to the edge of the pit and looked down. He saw that Madame Luo was not moving at all. She must have fallen unconscious. Mo Cheng's heart tightened and he quickly rode his sword and flew down. Yun Chujio blinked her eyes and rubbed them. She bit her own arm again. Am I not dead? Am I still alive? Ha! That's great. I'm not dead. I'm not dead. I told you, a scourge lives for 10,000 years. How can a person like me die? Everyone was dumbfounded. Although this country bumpkin was not dead, he must have been scared out of his mind. At this moment, Mo Cheng had already carried Madame Luo up. After feeding the pills, Madame Luo woke up. Although her cultivation was not low, she was shocked and frightened at the time. She did not have time to react, so her injuries were not light. Mo Fanghua looked at Yun Chujio fiercely. Mo Fanghua, did you do it on purpose? You bitch! Mo Fanghua stretched out her hand and was about to slap Yun Chujio's face. Yun Chujio knew that Mo Fanghua's spiritual power was very high, so she naturally wouldn't wait there to be slapped and run away. As for what was shameful or not, this guy never cared about it. As he ran, he shouted loudly, Uncle, third uncle, help. Second sister wants to kill me. Mo Peng and Mo Chang had just been cheated by Yun Chujio of so many things, so they naturally didn't want to meddle in this matter. However, Yun Chujio was too thick-skinned, so she directly hid behind Mo Chang. Second sister, why aren't you and I stopping? You actually shouted and shouted in front of third uncle, where is your upbringing? Third uncle, quickly save me. Yun Chujio poked her head out from behind Mo Chang and bared her little white teeth. Fanghua, let's talk things out. Moreover, Fanghua did not do it on purpose. She must have thought that she was already dead, so she wanted to complain to second sister-in-law. Who would have thought, cough cough, second sister-in-law is too timid. Mo Chang saw Mrs. Luo's miserable appearance, he almost laughed out loud. Although Mo Fanghua was arrogant, it wasn't good for her to be impudent in front of her elders. She could only glare at Yun Chujio fiercely and made up her mind to deal with Yun Chujio after Mo Chang and the others left. Madame Luo was helped to her feet by manager Xia and Qilan. Although she hated Yun Chuzhou to death in her heart, she still said, "Fanghua, don't be rude. Your elder sister was probably shocked by the heavenly lightning just now." "Second aunt, you're absolutely right. I thought I was already dead." "Emma, the heavenly lightning was as thick as a person's arm. It struck at me." Yun Chuzhou trembled as she spoke. Her acting skills were so good that even she herself was impressed. Everyone's attention was immediately attracted by Yun Chuzhia's words. "That's right, such a terrifying heavenly lightning. Why didn't this country bumpkin die but was still alive and kicking?" "Fang Chao, tell me what happened just now?" Mo Peng asked. "Sai, you all know that I have an unlucky heavenly lightning spiritual root. That's why when I was in the Tian Yuan continent, I would occasionally be struck by lightning. However, the lightning was only as thick as a pinky finger, and it stopped after a short while. This is the first time I've seen such a terrifying scene. It was simply too frightening. Although I'm a coward, I'm the most loyal person. I can't implicate others just because of me. That's why I had Dong Qing and Xia Yi inform the other servants to retreat when I saw the dark clouds gathering around Wu Yun. After they left, I sat in the courtyard and waited to be struck by lightning. When the first bolt of lightning struck me, I was struck until my entire body was stiff and unable to move. When the second bolt of lightning struck me again, I felt a little dizzy. When the third bolt struck me, I didn't know anything. I thought I was dead for sure. I didn't expect that I was still alive. Perhaps the heavens thought that a kind person like me shouldn't die so early, so they spared me this time," Yun Chuzhou said with a lingering fear. Everyone was skeptical. Only 3 bolts of lightning struck this country bumpkin. Mo Chang guessed, "Big brother, second brother, could it be that this heavenly lightning thought that it struck Fang Chao's niece to death after striking 3 bolts of lightning? So it didn't strike her again?" Mo Peng looked at the few deep pits on the ground. "What third brother said makes sense. The heavenly lightning this time doesn't seem to be reliable. Normally, the heavenly lightning wouldn't accidentally hit other areas, but this time, not only did the heavenly lightning strike so many deep pits on the ground, but it also struck the door of the residence. It really doesn't make sense." The crowd discussed and couldn't think of any other possibility, so they could only agree with Yun Chuzhia's words. Mo Peng and Mo Chang looked at each other. Mo Chang said, "Second brother, Fang Keo's courtyard has been hacked into such a state. It's not comfortable to live there. Why don't I bring Fang Chao to the old residence? Fang Chao hasn't met her grandparents yet, so it's a good time for her to pay her respects." Mo Ching snorted coldly, "Eldest brother, third brother, don't think about Fang Chao anymore. Fang Chao is my daughter. Not to mention that I'm still alive, even if I die, I won't give her to you." Yun Chuzhou sneered in her heart. Her words sounded cold, and she thought that it was because she doted on her daughter. Unfortunately, it was only for the sake of benefits. Mo Peng smiled and said, "Second brother, looking at what you said, we really don't have any other intentions. We're going back anyway. It's just on the way. Since you're unwilling, then forget it. However, if you and your sister-in-law continue to mistreat Fang Chao, U.S. uncles will definitely not sit by and do nothing." Mo Ching snorted coldly. "Big brother and third brother should be more concerned about your own children. You don't have to worry about the matters of our second branch." This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Mo Peng and Mo Chang met a soft nail, and their faces were a little embarrassed. At this moment, they heard Yun Chuzhou say excitedly, "Father, I haven't met grandfather and grandmother. Since uncle and third uncle are on the way, then let them bring me there." This person was very shrewd. Mo Fanghua, that little bitch, had been staring at her coldly. Perhaps when Mo Peng and Mo Chang left, she would fly into a rage. It was better to stay away from the limelight. Besides, Mo Pang and Mo Chang would definitely try to rope her in when they arrived at the old residence. It was just the right time to see if they could find out Mo Chang's motive for bringing her back. Mo Pang's face lit up when he heard Yun Chujia's words. Second brother, since Fang Chao wants to visit grandfather and grandmother, let's bring her back to the old residence. Mo Cheng was naturally unwilling. The three of them started to argue and the atmosphere became more and more tense. Seeing this, Madame Luo said, "Master, since Fang Chao wants to go, then let her go. She really should go and visit her grandparents." Mo Cheng was stunned, but seeing Madame Luo's concealed gaze, he could only say, "Since that's the case, then well, do as you say. It's getting late today. Big brother, third brother, you guys can leave tomorrow." Mo Pang and Mo Chang had gotten what they wanted, so they naturally agreed without hesitation. When Mo Cheng and Madame Luo returned to the main courtyard, Mo Cheng asked in puzzlement, "Xiao Yun, you clearly know that those two don't have good intentions, so why did you agree?" "Old master, since they have such thoughts, even if you don't agree, I reckon that they will urge father and mother to go over after they return. Since that's the case, why should father and mother be dissatisfied with us? Although what you said makes sense, that rebellious daughter is already dissatisfied with us. What if those two really persuaded her? Master, isn't that easy to handle? Isn't Jun Chen at the old residence? In 2 days, we'll use the excuse of going to pick up Jun Chen to bring Fang Chao back. In just a few days, they won't be able to convince Fang Chao. Besides, I'll ask Fang Qin to go with us. If there's any disturbance, she can keep an eye on it. Moreover, master, we don't know whether that matter is true or not. When we go over, we can still find out the truth." Mo Cheng said with appreciation, "Xiao Yun, what you said makes sense. I'm really lucky to have married you. What more could a husband ask for?" The next day, Mo Cheng proposed to let Mo Fang Qin go with him. Mo Pang and Mo Chang could not refuse, so they could only bring Mo Fang Qin along. The Mo family's old residence was in Fengli City, which was hundreds of miles away from Jinchuan City. Therefore, everyone boarded the Flying Spirit Tool as soon as they left Jinchuan City. Yun Chujio was chattering non-stop, but the content was nothing more than what was delicious and which clothes were good-looking. Mo Fang Qin could not be bothered with her, but she was afraid that Mo Pang and Mo Chang would blame her, so, she agreed perfunctorily. Mo Pang and Mo Chang only had a few words for Yun Chujio: greedy, greedy, and afraid of death. It was too easy to rope in such a little girl. Although she had cheated some things before, it was just carelessness. This little girl was at most a little clever and not worth being afraid of. That afternoon, the Flying Spirit Tool arrived outside of Fengli City. Yun Chujio saw the big words, Fengli City, on the city gate and could not help but be secretly happy. This name was good. Pineapple City. It sounded sweet and sweet. Mo Fang Qin saw that Yun Chujio had been smiling all along and could not help but snort in her heart. Country bumpkin, did she think that the old residence was a good place? That was a place that ate people without spitting out their bones. There was a time for you to cry. The Mo family's old mansion was situated on the east side of Fengli City and occupied a whole street. It was evident that the Mo family was powerful enough in Fengli City. Although the Mo family had split up, Mo Pang and Mo Chang still lived in the old mansion. It was just that 2 walls had been built in the middle, dividing the old mansion into 3 families. Originally, Mo Cheng should also have lived in the old mansion. However, under the urging of Madame Luo, Mo Cheng went to Jinchuan City to start a new life. Because of this matter, the Mo family's Madame Lu was very unhappy with Madame Luo. Fortunately, Madame Luo's Mo Junchen was very well liked, so Madame Liu's attitude softened a little. The first thing Mo Pang and Mo Chang did when they returned was to meet the Mo family's master, Mo Xiaoting, and Madame Lu. When Yun Chujio heard the name of the Mo family's master for the first time, she almost burst out laughing. Mo shouting, Mo shouting, Mo shouting, Mo shouting, Mo shouting, Mo shouting. As soon as the four of them entered Luoli City, Mo shouting and old Madame Lu received the news. Old Madame Lu pursed her lips. In my opinion, the soft-eared second brother must have been instigated by Luo Shi. If it weren't for the fact that she gave birth to Jun Chen, would have already set rules for her. Mo shouting furrowed his brows. In recent years, the Luo family has become much stronger than before. Second brother might be able to borrow some power. Don't give Luo Shi any face. Sigh, I'm just going to say it behind her back. If I give Luo Shi any face, my precious Jun Chen will be the first to be unhappy. Old Madame Lu could not stop smiling when she mentioned Mo Junchen. You really dote on Jun Chen too much. Prepare a welcome gift. No matter what, Fang Chao is the eldest daughter of the second branch. Humph. How could a wild girl who grew up on a low-grade continent be worthy of being the eldest daughter of the second branch? It would be more appropriate if she was replaced by a Fanghua girl. Besides, the reason why second brother brought her back was probably because of that incident. Luo Shi sure knew how to scheme. I have to say, this Luo Shi is much stronger than the one from back then. Enough. Why are you talking about Chen Sesame's rotten grain incident? Hurry up and prepare your welcome gift. Mo shouting yelled unhappily. Seeing Mo Ziyading's anger, old Madame Lu did not dare to say anything else. Instead, she blamed Yun Chujio for not meeting her. A moment later, Yun Chujio and the other two entered the house. Seeing Yun Chujio's appearance, old Madame Lu furrowed her brows and felt even more displeased. After Mo Pang and Mo Chang greeted each other, it was Yun Chujio and Mo Fankin's turn. After the two of them greeted each other, old Madame Lu said coldly, "Get up. Fang Qin, go sit down at the side. I want to talk to her." Yun Chujio glanced at Mo shouting and old Madame Lu who were sitting in the main seat. Seeing their expressions, she knew they didn't like her either. It was strange. Why didn't the Mo residents like her? Could it have something to do with her mother? I heard that you blew up your residence as soon as you returned. You really don't have any rules. Since your spiritual power is so low, you should cultivate properly. Why did you come here for no reason? Trash like you, if word got out, it would bring shame to our Mo family. Even though you didn't live up to your expectations, I still have to give you this welcome gift. I don't want others to say that my bowl of water is unfair. Old Madame Lu said as she took out a hairpin and threw it in front of Yun Chujio. That hairpin was only a low-grade spiritual artifact, and its style was very old. It was not an accessory that a young lady brought. The most outrageous thing was that old Madame Lu directly threw the hairpin on the ground. It was obvious that she was humiliating Yun Chujio. This was no different from sending away a beggar. Mo Fangqin could not help but look at Yun Chujio. This country bumpkin had always been unconventional. What would she do? Everyone in the room looked at Yun Chujio. The current situation was inappropriate no matter what she did. If she picked up the hairpin, she would be swallowing her anger. From now on, there would be no way for her to raise her head in the Mo residence. However, if she did not pick up the hairpin, it would be disrespectful to grandmother. The elder would not refuse, and old Madame Lu would very likely punish her. Old Madame Lu curled her lips, her eyes full of disdain. She was just a little girl, and only second brother was considerate and indulgent towards her. With a little bit of tricks, she could be submissive. At this moment, Yun Chujio said crisply, "Thank you for the gift, grandmother." "That someone, yes, it's you. Pick up that hairpin and stick it in my hair. This is a gift from grandmother for my first meeting. I must always wear such an expensive and decent thing. When I return to Jinchuan City, I will tell everyone on the streets that this is a good gift from my grandmother. The servant girl who was pointed at by Yun Chujio had a dumbfounded look on her face. Was she going to pick it up or not? No matter what, this country bumpkin was the legitimate daughter and the master. She could not openly go against her words. However, what did old Madame mean? Old Madame Liu's expression was gloomy. This wretched girl was clearly provoking her. With such a declaration, wouldn't it be the truth that she was mistreating her? Old Madame Liu gritted her teeth and gave a look to the old woman beside her. The old woman picked up the hairpin and returned it to old Madame Liu. Old Madame Liu said with a sullen face, "I took the wrong one in a hurry. This is the present for your first meeting." Old Madame Liu took out a bracelet that was flowing with colorful lights. It was obvious that it was a high-grade spirit tool. Naturally, it was not good to throw the bracelet on the ground. The old woman took the bracelet and handed it to Yun Chujio. Yun Chujio put it into her storage ring with a smile. "Thank you, grandmother." Old Madame Liu felt that Yun Chujio's smile was particularly dazzling. She said coldly, "Why don't you wear it on your hand?" "Grandmother, I naturally have to keep the things that you gave me well. What if I break it if I wear it on my hand? Wouldn't that be a waste of your good intentions?" Yun Chujio said seriously. Old Madame Liu was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Now she knew to keep it well. Why did she have to take the hairpin to parade on the streets? This little girl was really detestable to the extreme. Just as old Madame Liu was sulking, she heard Yun Chujio say with a smile, "Grandfather, grandmother already gave me such a good thing. Don't you have to show your appreciation?" Mo Pang and the others jumped in shock. This country bumpkin was too daring. Mo Xiaoting's personality was cold and hard. Even the most favored Mo Junchen did not dare to act coquettishly in front of him. This country bumpkin was just waiting to be reprimanded. Mo Xiaoting was also taken aback. His eyes flashed with deep thought as he pulled out a jade pendant from his storage ring. "They'll give you this dragon pattern 7 treasures jade pendant." Everyone was shocked. How was this possible? Not only was he not angry, he actually gave this country bumpkin a high-grade spiritual weapon. Did the master eat the wrong medicine? After Yun Chujio received the jade pendant, her eyes turned red, she was touched and said, "Thank you, grandfather. Grandfather, you are the most powerful person I have ever seen. Most importantly, not only are you powerful, you are also very good to my granddaughter. I will definitely be filial to you in the future. I will do whatever you want me to do. I will listen to your arrangements." Both Mo Xiaoting and everyone present were stunned by Yun Chujio's blatant flattery. Wasn't this country bumpkin a little too thick-skinned? This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Mo Xiaoting wasn't fooled by Yun Chujio's words, but he couldn't help but feel a little comfortable. After all, he usually put on airs, so no one dared to compliment him like this. "Since you're here, you should stay for a few more days." "Madam, isn't Tingyi Xian empty? Let Feng Chao and Feng Qin stay here for the time being." Mo Xiaoting said to old Madame Liu. "What? Let them stay at Tingyi Xian?" Mo Xiaoting gave old Madame Liu a cold glance. Old Madame Liu immediately changed her mind. "All right, they'll get someone to bring them over." Old Madame Liu felt a lump in her throat. Damn it! Damn it! What was wrong with the old master? How could he protect this country bumpkin? Mo Pang and the others were even more shocked. Not only was he Xian very exquisite, but there was also a lotus pond not too far away. The scenery was very pleasant. The ladies of the Mo family had wanted to move in, but they weren't allowed to. Who would have thought that Mo Xiaoting would allow the country bumpkin and Mo Fengqin to move in? Of course, everyone knew that Mo Fengqin had used the country bumpkin as an excuse. But, why? Was it because the country bumpkin had said a few words of flattery? Did the country bumpkin catch the master's eye? The crowd chatted for a while longer before Mo Xiaoting picked up his teacup. Mo Pang and Mo Chang tactfully excused themselves. The two of them walked out of the main courtyard and looked at each other. Big brother, what do you think father means? We can all see that second brother is trying to use the country bumpkin. Why can't father see that? Why does he still value her so much? Mo Peng was also confused. I am also very confused. That country bumpkin took the initiative to ask for a gift. Not only did father not scold her, he even gave her a high-grade spirit tool. Most importantly, he even let her stay in Tingyi Xian. What does he mean by that? The two of them stared at each other, unable to guess what Mo Xiaoting was thinking. They could only return to their respective residences and wait and see. On the other side, although old Madame Lu was unwilling, she did not dare to go against Mo Xiaoting's wishes. So, she asked a maid to bring Yun Chujiu and Mo Fangqin to hear He Xian rest. Old master, I really don't understand why you place so much importance on that little brat, old Madame Lu asked in confusion. Mo Xiaoting tapped his finger on the table and said slowly, this little brat isn't simple. If I have other uses for her. Mo Xiaoting did not say if anything. Seeing his serious expression, old Madame Lu did not dare to ask any further, but she did not think much of it. How could a country bumpkin with low spiritual power not be simple? The old master really thought too highly of her. Yun Chujiu and Mo Fangqin left the main courtyard accompanied by a maid. Mo Fangqin was full of questions while Yun Chujiu was in high spirits as she looked around. Miss Fangqiao, you'd better hurry up. This servant still has to report back to the old madam. The maid who led the way, Qing Dai, curled her lips. This country bumpkin was obviously inexperienced. It was really embarrassing. Yun Chujiu glanced at her and didn't say anything. She continued to look around. It had to be said that this old house was a few grades higher than the Mo residence in Jinchuan City. Whether it was the layout or the layout of the courtyard, it was a lot more advanced. What made this guy most satisfied was that there were actually a few spirit fruit trees. They were filled with bright yellow fruits. This fellow Yun Chujiu had just arrived at the Immortal Essence continent, so she basically didn't know the spirit plants and demonic beasts of the Immortal Essence continent. However, this fellow's nose was really good. This sweet smell could be smelled from far away. This fruit must have a very good taste. Should I pick it or pick it? Just as she was about to say that, Yun Chujiu thought of something and leaped towards the spirit fruit tree. She picked a spirit fruit and wiped it with her sleeve before taking a bite. Even in her dreams, Qing Dai never thought that there would be such a shameless person. She hurriedly shouted, Miss Fang Chao. Stop. It would be strange if Yun Chujiu listened to her. This fellow felt that this fruit was very sweet, so he reached out and started picking. As he picked, he said, Stop, stop what? No one will eat this fruit here. It's such a waste. I'm not a picky eater, so I'll reluctantly help my grandparents eat it. Qing Dai was angry and afraid. This is a rank 3 golden ginseng fruit. You're not allowed to pick it casually. The old madam won't forgive you. You're not allowed to pick it casually. I'm not picking it casually. I pick the big ones. I won't pick the small ones. Don't worry. Yun Chujiu said with a smile. Indigo. Indigo stomped her foot in anger. She didn't care about Yun Chujiu and Mo Fangqin anymore and ran to the main courtyard to complain. Big sister, this third-rank golden ginseng fruit blooms once every 30 years, bears fruit once every 30 years, and ripens once every 30 years. You're not allowed to pick it as you please. Grandma will definitely be furious, Mo Fangqin said coldly and cursed in her heart. This country bumpkin. Are you that greedy? Grandmother has never taken a fancy to you, yet you still seek death. Just wait to be punished. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile, third sister, you are too obedient. As for this person, you have to think of a way to live comfortably and easily. Humph. What you said is easy. I'll see how you can still be at ease when grandmother reprimands you later. Mo Fangqin snorted coldly. Third sister, then you just wait and see. Not only will I not be scolded, I'll even eat this fruit in a proper manner. Yun Chuzhou was almost done picking and jumped in front of Mo Fangqin. Mo Fangqin pursed her lips. Who doesn't know how to talk big? Not only will grandma scold you, I'm afraid she'll also punish you. Just wait to be punished. Just don't implicate me. Third sister, you're dreaming. If I tell grandmother that you once told me that this rank 3 golden ginseng fruit tastes very fresh and sweet, that's why I'm thinking of it. Guess, will grandmother punish you as well? Yun Chujia's black lotus skill was full again. Mo Fangqin was so angry that she was trembling. You're despicable. Despicable? I'm shameless. Are you afraid? Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. That look was as hateful as it could be. What do you want? Mo Fangqin asked angrily. You're still very smart. Cooperate with me later. If you say so, do you understand? Yun Chuzhou smiled like a little fox stealing chickens. Mo Fangqin's eyes widened. How could a person be so shameless? This country bumpkin was too shameless, right? Mo Fangqin was afraid of being implicated, so she reluctantly agreed to Yun Chuzhou and followed Yun Chuzhou to the main courtyard. At this time, old Madame Lu was furious. This Mo Fangqin is extremely daring. I was planning to use this rank 3 golden ginseng fruit to give gifts and entertain my guests, but she actually dared to pick it. She's really rebelling against the heavens. Mo Shouting frowned. He originally thought that this little girl had some thoughts, but she was actually a foodie. Since that was the case, there was no other use for her. Guards! Bring me that Mo Fangqiao. Old Madame Lu yelled angrily. Grandmother, there's no need to send anyone to capture me. I've walked right into a trap. Yun Chuzhou walked in with a smile. The corner of Mo Fangqin's eyes twitched. Was she walking into a trap? The description was really apartment. Old Madame Lu was so angry when she saw Yun Chuzhou. She picked up the teacup on the table and threw it at Yun Chuzhou. You good for nothing. Did you eat the 3 transformation golden ginseng fruit? Are you worthy? Yun Chuzhou nimbly took the teacup in her hand. She said with a smile, Grandmother, even if you want me to drink tea, don't be so rude. Fortunately, my granddaughter is agile. Otherwise, she will be hurt by you. If I get hurt, you will feel sorry for me. If you feel sorry for me, you will not be able to eat or sleep well. What if you get sick? Therefore, for the sake of your health, don't smash the teacup in the future. Moreover, the teacup is quite expensive. What a waste. Being diligent and thrifty at home is a good family style. Everyone was dumbfounded as they watched Yun Chuzhou ramble on non-stop. It was just a matter of smashing the teacups, but it had forced her to talk nonsense about family style. Moreover, from the looks of it, if she were to continue, it would be able to bring up the rise and fall of the immortal Yuan continent. Shut up. Stop changing the topic. Hand over all the rank 3 golden ginseng fruits you picked, and then ask the family law to punish you. Old Madame Lu was so angry that she was trembling. Yun Chuzhou took out a tray from her storage ring. There were more than 10 rank 3 golden ginseng fruits on it. She said with a smile, Grandfather, Grandmother, all the rank 3 golden ginseng fruits are here. I picked the biggest and yellowed ones. Although I'm a little useless, I'm still quite good at picking fruits. Qing Dai immediately screamed, Old Madam, she picked more than this. She kept them for herself. Yun Chujio handed the tray to Mo Fangqin and walked in front of Qin Dai. She gave her a hard slap. Did grandmother ask you anything? Do you think you have a mouth for what you owe your son? If it weren't for you, would I have picked this fruit? You're the wicked one who complained first. You black-hearted person, tell me, did you take some benefits from someone and set me up? Qin Dai was stunned by the beating. Was this country bumpkin crazy? He dared to hit people in front of the family head and old Madame Lu. Sure enough, old Madame Lu slammed the table fiercely. Mo Fong grass. Are you rebelling? Yun Chujio said with a wronged expression, Grandmother, you don't know, this slave is really too detestable. If it wasn't for her urging me, would I dare to pick the fruit? I didn't expect that she would actually set me up, I'm really too wronged. Old Madame Lu snorted coldly, she set you up. Yun Chujio nodded angrily, Grandmother, I'm not stupid. I clearly know that it's your most precious fruit. Would I dare to pick it? This Qin Dai told me that the rank 3 golden ginseng fruit is used by you to give gifts and entertain distinguished guests. Although I want to eat it, I can't bear to eat it. If I can pick a few and send them over, you will definitely eat it. So you picked it? Who are you lying to? These words are full of loopholes. If I wanted to eat it, I would naturally pick it myself. Why would I eat it when you picked it? Old Lady Lu said disdainfully. This lie was too clumsy. Yun Chujio sighed. Grandmother, you are right. I am not a fool. Of course, I know that Qin Dai is lying to me. If I were to pluck this fruit, not only would you not reward me, you would definitely punish me severely. But, why did I pluck it? Why did I pluck it? Yun Chujio looked at old Madame Lu. Old Madame Lu was so angry that she gritted her teeth. How would I know why you plucked it? Why are you looking at me? This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Yun Chujio straightened her small back, she said righteously, Grandfather, Grandmother, I think so. No matter how precious these external things are, they are still external things. Why do you want to give the spirit fruit that you have painstakingly cultivated to outsiders to eat, but you are reluctant to eat it yourself? Could it be that those people will really appreciate the favor after eating this fruit, and will really give our Mo residents some practical benefits? I don't think so. Although this 3-transformation golden ginseng fruit wasn't common, it wasn't a rare item at all. At the very most, it was only a low-grade earth-grade spirit fruit. It would be better to gift an upper-grade spirit tool. It would be fine if it was someone else. After all, they were all juniors. However, the two of you had worked so hard for so many years. Don't tell me that you still have to think about this and that after eating this fruit. If you ate it, then you ate it. What else could you do? As I thought about this, I felt my heart ache. So, although I knew that I would definitely be punished for picking this fruit, I still picked it without hesitation. If you too want to punish me, then I'll accept it. After all, filial piety is greater than the heavens. What's the point of being punished? If you want to be punished, then fine. I have no complaints. Old Madame Lu and Mo Xiaoting were both stunned. Yun Chujio's words were clearly out of their expectations. She was old and cunning. Of course, they knew that Yun Chujio was trying to quibble, but they had to admit. Yun Chujio's words were quite reasonable. It made sense. The rank 3 golden ginseng fruit was only a low-grade earth-grade fruit. Although it was a rare item, it wasn't particularly valuable. Even if they gave it away, it might not be of much use. Old Madame Lu scoffed, that's a nice way of putting it. I think you just want it. You just want to eat the fruit. Yun Chujio bared her white teeth, Grandmother, you're too wise. You're right. On one hand, I want to be filial, and on the other hand, I'm greedy. After thinking about it, you and grandfather both love the younger generation. No matter what, you can give me a few fruits to taste. So I plucked this fruit boldly. If you want to punish me, then punish me. I accept the punishment. The corner of Mo Fankin's eyes twitched. The only person who could say that she was greedy was this fellow. How thick-skinned. But, would grandfather and grandmother believe her nonsense? The corners of old Madame Lu and Mo Xiaoting's eyes also twitched. They had lived for so many years, but they had never met such a shameless person. Just as old Madame Lu was about to say something, Mo Xiaoting laughed. You are quite honest. What you said makes sense. No matter how precious the rank 3 golden ginseng fruit is, it's still a dead object. Rather than giving it to someone else, it's better for us to enjoy it ourselves. I'll give these fruits to you. You can go back now. Mo Fankin's heart felt like it was going to explode. Did her grandfather really believe what she said? He even gave these fruits to her. How was this possible? Had her grandfather gone crazy today? Thank you, grandfather. Thank you, grandmother. I love you guys so much. Grandmother, please find me a maid to lead the way. This Qing Dai is too evil. She might even try to frame me. Grandmother, please do your research. Maybe this Qing Dai is someone's spy. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Today, Mo Xiaoting had been protecting Yun Chuzhou one after another. Old Madame Lu felt very uncomfortable and said coldly, Yin Hong, take the two of them to hear He Xian. Yes. Yin Hong accompanied Yun Chuzhou and Mo Fangqin out of the house. Qing Dai immediately knelt down. Old madam, no matter how brave I am, I will not lie to you. I am only loyal to you. I am not someone else's spy. This chapter is a preview. If you want to see a faster and more up-to-date chapter, please visit for more content. Old Madame Lu looked deeply at Qing Dai. Get up. I didn't say anything. Bring some people back to pick some ripe rank 3 golden ginseng fruits. Yes. Thank you, old madam. Qing Dai's forehead was covered in cold sweat. Half of her face was still swollen and she looked extremely disheveled. After Qing Dai left, old Madame Lu said, Master, that little girl is obviously spouting nonsense. I think she's just craving for it. Mo Xiaoting laughed, I'm not that old. I know she's spouting nonsense. Then why did you spare her? Old Madame Lu did not understand. It's just a few fruits. Let's just eat them. Plus, what she said makes sense. Even if we give them away, they might not have any effect. Why don't we keep them for ourselves? Mo Xiaoting said before he left for the study room. Old Madame Lu furrowed her brows. She felt that Mo Xiaoting wasn't telling the truth. However, Mo Xiaoting had always been in charge of the Mo family's affairs, so she did not dare to object. However, she was getting more and more displeased with Yun Chuzhou. On the other side, Yin Hong led Yun Chuzhou and Mo Fangqin to hear He Xian. Yin Hong's attitude was much more respectful than Qing Dai's. What a joke. She didn't dare to be disrespectful. This country bumpkin's hands were really dark. He had slapped Qing Dai's face until it was swollen. Moreover, he was eloquent. He might even charge her with something. Yin Hong, is there only me and third sister in Tingyi Xian? Aren't there any maids serving us? Yun Chuzhou tossed a rank 3 golden ginseng fruit to Mo Fangqin. Then, she took out one and ate it happily. Mo Fangqin put the rank 3 golden ginseng fruit into her storage ring. She didn't have the guts to eat it like Yun Chuzhou. Miss Fangchao, although Tingyi Xian has never been inhabited, there are 2 maids on duty. They usually take care of the flowers and plants, Yin Hong said respectfully. Yun Chuzhou nodded. It's good that there's someone to serve us. Otherwise, if there's no one to collect the food, wouldn't we starve to death? The corner of Yin Hong's eyes twitched. This country bumpkin was really a foodie. All he thought about was eating. How do grandfather and grandmother usually arrange their daily schedule? Yin Hong briefly explained, and Yun Chuzhou nodded. Then, she took out a small porcelain bottle from her storage ring. There are 7 flawless beauty pills in here. If you take one every day, the scar on your forehead will be removed. Yin Hong was stunned. There was indeed a scar on her forehead. Usually, it was not too obvious when she covered it with her bangs. She did not expect that Yun Chuzhou would discover it and even give her pills. Although the spiritual energy in the western continent of immortal essence was much richer than that in the Tianyuan continent, the level of pill refinement was not much higher than that in the Tianyuan continent. Therefore, this flawless beauty pill was not very common, and it was not cheap. Yin Hong was only a maid. It would be difficult for her to buy a flawless beauty pill, not to mention 7. Miss Fong Chao, this is too expensive. I can't accept it. Yin Hong quickly declined. She would not accept a reward for nothing. This country bumpkin's future was bleak. If she took the opportunity to make a request, it would be difficult to handle. Although this thing is not cheap, it is useless for me to keep it. Just keep it. Don't worry. I have nothing to ask of you. I will return to Jinchuan City in a few days. If you don't accept it, I will say that you scolded grandmother. Do you think grandmother will punish you? Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. Yin Hong had never met such a strange person. She could only accept the flawless beauty pill under Yun Chuzhou's coercion. Yin Hong thought that Yun Chuzhou would take the opportunity to ask her to do something. She did not expect Yun Chuzhou to just chat with her as if nothing had happened. A moment later, the 3 of them arrived at Tingyi Xian. Yun Chuzhou saw Tingyi Xian and immediately fell in love with him. The reason was simple. There was a large lotus pond in front of Tingyi Xian and there were many lotus pods inside. Yin Hong went forward to call for the door, and soon, 2 maids in pink walked out. The 2 maids were stunned when they saw the 3 of them. Yin Hong said, Qing Lu, Qing Ji, Miss Fong Chao and Miss Fong Qin will be staying in Tingyi Xian for the next few days. Please serve them well. Yin Hong then said to Yun Chuzhou and Mo Fong Qin, Miss Fong Chao, Miss Fong Qin, I will take my leave now. If you 2 have anything to do, just let Qing Lu and Qing Ji handle it. Yun Chuzhou nodded. Go back and serve grandmother well. Although Yin Hong felt that Yun Chuzhou's words were pretentious, she still respectfully agreed and left. Qing Lu and Qing Ji looked at each other. Was this the country bumpkin Mo Fong Chao? How could he be arranged to stay in Tingyi Xian? The 2 did not know the whole story, so they did not dare to be presumptuous. They respectfully said, this servant Qing Lu and Qing Ji greets Miss Fong Chao and Miss Fong Qin. Get up. Bring us inside to have a look. Yun Chuzhou waved her hand and said casually. Therefore, Qing Lu and Qing Ji brought the 2 of them into Tingyi Xian. Yun Chuzhou looked at the exquisite decorations inside and was very satisfied. She and Mo Fong Qin each chose a room, then, she said to the 2 maids, it's almost time for dinner. Go and get food for me and 3rd sister. Make more food. We have a big appetite. Mo Fong Qin pursed her lips. The 2 of us? Tui. Shameless. Only you have a big appetite, okay? Qing Lu said, I can go and get the food by myself. Qing Ji, stay and listen to your orders. That's fine too. Qing Ji, go to the lotus pond and get some lotus seeds for me. I think the lotus seeds are very full. I think the lotus seeds are almost grown. Yun Chuzhou said with a smile. The 3 of them. Qing Ji never thought that Yun Chuzhou would make such a request. She had no choice but to ask the steward to borrow a boat. Of course, she had to borrow a boat because those lotus seeds grew in the middle of the lotus pond. How could she get them without rowing? Mo Fangqin saw that the two maids had left. She curled her lips and said, "Big sister, you have just arrived and you have already turned the old house upside down. Aren't you afraid that grandmother and grandfather will punish you? What exactly do you have to rely on?" Yun Chujio looked at Mo Fangqin with a faint smile and then pointed at her own head. "I rely on my unparalleled wisdom." Mo Fangqin rolled her eyes in anger. "Forget it if you don't want to say it. Just don't drag me along when you're courting death. I don't want to be punished. Don't worry, don't worry. I haven't lived long enough. I won't court death. If you follow me, I guarantee that you'll have a good life. How can you be punished? Here, these few fruits are for you. Look at how generous I am." Yun Chujio said as she tossed Mo Fangqin a few rank 3 golden ginseng fruits. Mo Fangqin ate one and prepared to give the rest back to Auntie Chiu. The two of them chatted for a while more before Qing Lu came back with food. Although Yun Chujio had eaten a few fruits, she was still very hungry. She immediately wolfed down the fruits. Qing Lu, who was watching from the side, was dumbfounded. This Miss Fang Chao was too good at eating. After dinner, Yun Chujio leaned back on the chair. Why hasn't Qing Ji come back after picking the lotus seed pod? She's really worried. Qing Liu's mouth twitched and she explained, "Miss Fang Chao, the lotus seed pod grows in the middle of the lotus pond, so Qing Ji has to borrow a boat from Steward Zhou before she can pick the lotus seed pod." "Ah, so that's how it is. Qing Ji really hasn't had it easy. When she comes back, it'll definitely reward her heavily," Yun Chujio said with a sudden realization. Mo Fangqin pursed her lips. What a nice thing to say. What good thing can you reward with your stingy manner? Don't tell me you're going to reward me with a cabbage. While the three of them were chatting, Qing Ji entered the courtyard crying. The three of them were stunned. They saw that Qing Ji was covered in mud and looked very pathetic. "Qing Ji, what's going on?" Qing Lu and Qing Ji had always been on good terms, so she quickly asked. Qing Ji just shook her head and said to Yun Chujio with a sobbing tone, "Miss Fang Chao, the boat capsized. Your servant failed to pick the lotus pod. Please punish me." Yun Chujio frowned. Qing Ji had a cultivation base, so how could she capsize the boat? "Qing Ji, I don't like being lied to the most. Tell me, what's going on? Although I may not be able to make a decision for you, I want to know the truth." Qing Ji saw Yun Chujio's serious expression. She could only cry and say, "I had already picked a lot of lotus seeds, but I didn't expect that when I was about to go ashore, young Master Jun Chen came to the side of the lotus pond and asked me why I picked the lotus seeds. I told him that you wanted them. Then, young Master Jun Chen said, just say it." "What did he say?" "Just tell him the truth." Yun Chujio knew that Mo Junchen must have said something unpleasant when she saw Qing Ji stuttering. Young Master Jun Chen just say that Miss Fang Chao is a good-for-nothing and doesn't deserve to eat lotus seeds. Then, he ordered his guards to capsize my boat and didn't let me go ashore. Sob, Qing Ji cried again when she remembered the humiliation she had suffered just now. Big sister, Jun Chen is loved by grandmother and has a very overbearing personality. It's better if you don't provoke him. Mo Fangqin saw Yun Chujio's gloomy face and was afraid that this guy would make trouble again, so she quickly said. "Who said I want to provoke him? I'm just sorry that I can't eat the lotus seed pod. Qing Ji, go and wash up. After washing up, you can have dinner." Yun Chujio said and went straight into the house. Mo Fangqin comforted Qing Ji and went into the house. Qing Lu accompanied Qing Ji to wash up. "Qing Lu, who do you think I provoked? What bad luck. Sigh, it's not like you don't know young Master Jun Chen's mischievous character. Just avoid him in the future. Yeah, we're just maids. No one will stand up for us. Not to mention just getting us into the lotus pond, even if they kill us, no one will care. Qin Ji sighed and said. Qin Lu also felt sad. The two of them did not speak. They would definitely suffer this loss. No one would seek justice for them. The next morning, before the sun rose, Yun Chujio got up. Third sister, get up. This guy did not care about any manners and directly rushed into Mo Fankin's room and shouted. Big sister, are you crazy? It's only 2 hours and you're already up. Why are you up so early? Mo Fangqin looked at Yun Chujio with a dumbfounded face. This guy was usually the laziest. Why was he up so early today? Of course it's to do something big. Hurry up, don't dawdle. Mo Fangqin suddenly had a bad feeling. This guy didn't even mention that he was going to steal the 3 transformation golden ginseng fruit. Could it be that he was going to blow up the mansion? You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.